Alrighty, all restricted free agency is finally done. Thank the Lord. I've been so sick of waiting for this. Quentin Grimes is signing a 1-year, $8.7 million qualifying offer to return to the Philadelphia 76ers. Grimes now holds an inherent no trade clause and enter a more flush market in unrestricted free agency next summer. This is the final domino. Y'all, what was it? It was Cam Thomas, Josh Giddey, Kuminga yesterday, and now Q Grimes. Finally done. I'm actually really glad this news came out now because your boy's got to get on a flight and go to one of his clients in just a couple hours. And I just saw this. I was literally just about to go on a quick walk. I'm like, shit, I got time to do this now. It sucks if you're a Philly fan in the sense that you're like, wow, we didn't get to lock this guy up to a long-term deal. But I actually don't think this is the worst thing overall, but here's why this restricted free agency kind of ended this way, right? So Quentin Grimes is saying hey, I want $25-ish million. I'm a young guard that I can get out there, I can play some defense, I can score with the best of them. You guys saw when all your best players were down last year, I was getting buckets for. I was at one Timberwolves game this year just watching Quentin Grimes give those boys buckets the whole night. It was really funny listening to everyone in the crowd be like, who is this guy? I'm like, that's Q Grimes, man. He's a bucket. He's just been a little bit injured at the start of his career, right? Obviously, they weren't going to give him $25-ish million. This team can't exactly afford that. I've got this little tracker pulled up. I haven't updated this shit in a while, but I'm pulling it up here just cause. So with Mr. Quentin Grimes joining the team here, and let's just say the 870-123, let's just say it's something like that. The numbers aren't quite perfect, but you know what it is. He's a very solid basketball player, right? Young, up-and-coming scorer is kind of what we determined him to be. He doesn't have the kind of leverage that a Josh Giddey has necessarily. There's not a lot riding on the Sixers for making sure that he stays on the team like it did for Giddey being on the Bulls. The Warriors need to get something for Kuminga at some point, so they do that. The Nets don't necessarily need Cam Thomas, and that's why that one ended up as kind of a qualifying offer stage as well, and that's why this one did, because when you look at the depth chart for this team, Quentin Grimes might not start on this team even, right? And there's just a lot of other guys that they're developing on this team. There's a Tyrese Maxey, a Jared McCain, a VJ Edgecombe, who they just took. Hell, Justin Edwards will be a guy that they try to look into, right? There's a lot going on this 76ers team already, so if let's just say he accepts this qualifying offer, right? And personally, if I'm Q Grimes, I might have just signed a long-term 4-year deal at around 12 to 14-ish million dollars. That's kind of where I thought things were going to land. Because look, if he plays this year with the Sixers, right, which is what it seems like he's going to do, he's going to play out this season. He's got a lot of competition, right? I mean, Jared McCain is out for a little bit now, and that sucks, but there's still a couple guys on this team that are vying for minutes at these guard and wing spots that he's going to have to kind of fight through for stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do think he's a talented player, but he doesn't necessarily have the greatest opportunity on the Sixers team to kind of show his stuff, right? And so that's why the Sixers were like, look, dude, this is kind of the situation you're in. What are you going to do about it, right? We've got a lot of other people that we can play in these spots, so you don't have really any leverage to work with whatsoever because no one else can offer you any money, is what it is. So he's taking a risk, man. I mean, $8.7 million is nothing to scoff at, right? Let's just say in theory, this is kind of where he fits into things. On the team, great. That's kind of where he's Java, get out of here. I don't have time for you. If everyone kind of gets healthy at some point, how much burn does he really have? Is he really earning a bigger paycheck next summer? We don't know. And will demand be different for him? Well, we don't know, right? Maybe at the end of next year, maybe he is getting an 18, 19, $20 million contract and he was kind of able to show his stuff. But if he walks away from this season, averages 10, 11 points a game, how much do we really think he's going to get in free agency, right? Because we can all be critical thinkers and say, hey, if this guy had a bit bigger role, maybe he'd be better, right? But why would GMs use that logic, right? Why are they going to say oh, Q Grimes, yeah, we bet you're going to be this much better with this. With us, I don't necessarily think that's how they're going to go for things, right? So he's entering into a tough situation, but this does just help the Sixers, if we can just talk about them for a second, right? This is a team that is already dealing with a bunch of injuries going into this season. Joel Embiid, Paul George, Jared McCain. I'm sure more will come with this group. So in that sense, he's going to have the opportunity to get some burn right away. The Sixers could definitely use him, but let's be honest, the Sixers could very quickly become a mess if Embiid and Paul George aren't going to be healthy this year. I mean, Jared McCain's not like as surefire of a thing on the court as maybe some people want to think he is. He had an interesting like 20-ish games last year, but is what it is. This team is going to need some people to get some buckets if Embiid and Paul George aren't going to be playing, and Q Grimes is a way to do it. But again, a lot of other people at similar positions that will want some minutes on the court, so I'll be kind of curious to see how Philly balances all of this stuff. But yeah, what do we kind of think of Q Grimes? Like, I think he's a solid defensive player overall. I know the numbers kind of suggest otherwise. He was in with a lot of like kind of messy stuff at different points this last season, so I don't think it's like too like big of a deal or anything. I think he's more than competent on that end, and obviously offensively, dude can do a lot for you. He can do a lot for you. He even showed like he can be a bit of a creator, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. I pass this off to you guys and say, what do you think of this move? Sixers fans, are you worried you're just going to lose him next summer or something? Do you really care if you even lose him at this point? Do you think this is a good deal for Quentin Grimes? Again, if I were him, I have a hard time not taking like long-term, like $12-ish million or something from Philly, because I feel like he could have gotten that. I feel like they might have squeezed out a little bit more for him. But again, that pushes them into the first apron or whatever. That becomes a lot more complicated for them. So maybe they weren't willing to even. I don't know. But regardless, this is where we find the Sixers right now. It's better to have him on the team versus not, just from a team perspective, so be glad that he's on the team. But yeah, I don't know. I pass this off to you guys. What do you guys think? I'm going to go get ready for my flight now and go try to stretch out a little bit, because your boy is big, and like I hate being on planes, man. I'm not even like messed up by heights or anything. I just don't fit in them bitches, man. I don't know, man. I just want one of those, like, every once in a while I get to be in one of those planes with the beds or whatever. That's the best. That's true luxury right there. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always. Go watch all the other videos and everything. Okay, bye.